name's Jonathan Svitak, and I'm an attorney with the Shannon Law Group. And I'm the head of our vaccine practice. And what we do is we pursue compensation for people who have experienced an injury or a side effect due to a vaccine. And we do that by filing petitions in what's called the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. So if you're injured by a COVID-19 vaccine, and you're probably wondering, what are your options? Can I sue the manufacturers of the vaccine? Can I sue my medical provider? Is there a government program that's available for me to pursue compensation? And these are questions that I've been getting a lot over the last few months. And slowly we're starting to get some clarity on the issue. So number one, you cannot sue the manufacturer of the vaccine. You cannot sue the administrator of the vaccine, because they are both protected now from liability due to the PrEP Act, which has been issued by the government, and it's in response to a public emergency. So all of the COVID-19 vaccines that have been administered over the last few months, every qualified medical personnel that has been administering those vaccines is protected from any liability for negligence, for any injuries that are caused by the COVID-19 vaccine. So if you're not allowed to pursue a case against any of those persons or entities, the only option that's available to you right now is something called the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. And this is different from the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program in some very important ways. Number one, there's a very, very short statute of limitations for these claims. You only have 1 year from the date that you received the countermeasure, in this case the COVID-19 vaccine, to bring a claim. Whereas in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, you would have 3 years from the onset of your injury to bring a claim. So that's the first important distinction. Number two, the damages that are available to you in the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program are very limited. You can receive out-of-pocket unreimbursed medical expenses or lost wages and earnings. There is no compensation for pain and suffering. In the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, pain and suffering damages make up the bulk of many of the awards and the compensation that is given out to injured petitioners. So that's a huge difference between the two programs. So as of right now, the COVID-19 vaccine is not covered under the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. That vaccine has not been added to the vaccine injury table. So a lot of people have been asking me, will it ever be part of the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program? And the short answer to that is probably yes. It's a complicated issue right now, and it's creating a predicament for a lot of people who have experienced injuries or side effects due to the COVID-19 vaccine. Because as of right now, your only option is to file a petition in the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. And as we've discussed, that compensation program is inadequate, if you were to ask me, in fully compensating you for your injury. We'd much rather be able to file those injury claims in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. But we don't know exactly when or if the COVID-19 vaccine will be added to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. As of right now, there has been legislation that's recently been proposed that would make it easier for the COVID-19 vaccine to be added to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Again, this is great news, but we don't know when that's going to happen. And as we discussed earlier, the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program has a 1-year statute of limitations. So if you received the COVID-19 vaccine earlier this year and you experienced an injury, you only have 1 year to file a claim in the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. If you don't, then you're potentially losing out on compensation. Now, some people will make the decision to wait to see if COVID-19 vaccines are added to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program and then file their petition in that program. The only issue with that is we don't know when that's going to happen, and that assumes that there will be what we call a look-back provision or retroactive coverage for people who've received the COVID-19 vaccine before it was added to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Now, we expect that, number one, COVID-19 vaccines will be added to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Number two, it will include a look-back provision that will allow people who've been injured by the COVID-19 vaccine already to file a claim after it's added to the table. But those two things remain to be seen. So we are closely monitoring that situation. Obviously we're following very closely the bill that was proposed. We're very, very hopeful that soon we'll have some clarity on this issue and that we can advise people who call us with injuries due to the COVID-19 vaccine what their options are now and what their options may be in the future. And it's very much a fluid and ongoing situation. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe below for more content like this.